How's it going? This is Levent with Behind the Red, here with our guest for the day, Prod Manzo, two times award-winning producer. He's worked with the likes of Oprah, Chief Keef, Young Thug, and a few more greats. But yeah, man, how's it going? How you been?
Shit, good. Just, been working. That's all they do.
What's up, man? So,
Thanks.
kind of want to just know a little bit of background about you, where you from, how'd you get into what you do now, how'd you get tapped in as a producer?
Oh yeah, for sure. So I kind of been into music since I was a kid. I've been playing guitar and piano since I was 5. I'm better at guitar than piano for real, but I kind of wish I did piano more. But I'm originally from the Bay Area, Pinole, California, tiny little town, kind of on the East Bay near Berkeley, San Francisco. Yeah, and I kind of started taking music seriously when I went to Santa Barbara for college, and I kind of got into music then. I worked at Playback. That's how I got credits with Oprah. I learned Pro Tools and kind of the whole studio environment for real. And then after that, I kind of just started networking with people, just working on beats, engineering, just random homies for real. And then I started linking up with people going to LA. I was driving 2 hours going all the time to LA, and I really got my, I guess, industry break was when I linked up with Rojas on the beat. He did Look at Me for XXXTentaction.
It's crazy.
And yeah, and then I just hella randomly just linked up with him, and then we just locked in for real. And then I kind of his old manager is my manager now, and I kind of just started going up from there for
sure,
real.
Man. That's what's up, man. Best of luck to you, with the continuing the journey and growing.
Yeah, sure.
That's fire though. So being out in LA, would you say that there are benefits to being where you are compared to other places? So that's where all the connects are, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's really why I'm here. But I love California for real. I don't think I would ever live anywhere else full time. But I love being in LA. You do have to get out sometimes for real. So I take frequent trips to either to the Bay to see my parents or go random. I like doing random shit, just trying to dip. But LA is definitely the place to be for sure. Whenever anyone's oh, I'm thinking about going to LA, depending on the industry you're in, especially in entertainment for real or music, acting, whatever the hell you doing, then LA is definitely the spot for sure.
Definitely, man. I actually went out to LA for the first time last year, and I fell in love with the city. I was man, the way people move out there, it's different, man. It's people are cool, but I feel because traffic is so such a it can be a nuisance sometimes. You really gotta plan out your day. So I feel if you can get that around,
I definitely don't plan out my day. I kind of just do spontaneous shit, and however long it takes me to get there, I'll do it.
Word.
Oh God.
So.
It's definitely a hectic lifestyle for sure.
Hell yeah.
But I feel an important thing is kind of taking time to chill and relax and step away from it for a little bit, because you don't want to burn out. I know a lot of people that go through that.
For sure. Have you been through phases as a producer where you just aren't as inspired?
Oh, for sure, all the time. Literally every other week. Definitely more than once a week, for sure. It just doesn't come, and sometimes you got to do something for real. You got to go through experiences in life to bring out. I've realized that my best music I make is when I'm going through some fucked up shit. I've always noticed that, and it's messed up, but at the end of the day, music will be there for you for real.
Yeah, man. You got you have context matter for this the story that you're or the energy that you're putting into your craft.
Yeah, facts. That's definitely it's real emotion and shit. That's how I try to convey it through that. As I got better, it was really just honing in on that emotion. Because at first you're kind of just making shit that's just and then it starts getting repetitive for real. But you got to really be creative with it.
For sure.
Just lit.
Do you have any advice for people who maybe are creatives but kind of just get burnt out, or is there anything that you kind of do when you feel
just step away from it for real?
Just live
your
life.
Step away. Yeah, just if you don't want to make beats, don't make beats. Go do something. Go out. Go kick it with girls. And go out with your homies and go pull up somewhere. I don't know. Go to Six Flags or some shit, random shit. And then after you'll be oh, that's just at least how I work. I'll go out and do some shit, nothing related to music, and then I'll be damn, I want to make music, and then I'll be just inspired because I'm kind of fiending for that. It's a drug, I guess, in a way.
I feel that.
If you really love this shit, then it's like that, yeah.
Yeah, like the high of making something that, like, you know, you've never made before, or like, you know, really just like one-upping yourself, bro.
That's what it is. I feel like every beat I make, like, I'm like, damn, that, like, I could do way better than that. It's just like constantly, and I'm like, that's just how people are like, oh, like that shit's fire, and I'm like, nah, there's more shit, like. But I've kind of had to look past that as a producer for real, because like you'll play some shit somebody that you personally may not like, but somebody else may fuck with it.
I feel that. Everyone's got like, their own taste.
Yeah, like I'll be like, like you making a beat pack for somebody or some shit, and you pull up to the studio with them, and you start playing through the shit, and you're like, like you threw this beat in there, and you're like, I'm not fucking with that one. But then they're like, hey, hold up, they run it back. Like what? Like, and then you hear them do their shit on it. It's like, oh, man, I didn't see the vision for a second. But you know, that's the collaboration there for real.
For sure. So you produce and engineer. So like, did you get like that education at, like you said, Playback Studios?
Yeah, I got most of that education for sure. At least I started off as an engineer for real.
Okay, that's what's up. So like you started recording people and you like went into producing separately? Yeah,
I was like strictly like an intern for there, but I kind of like, I was like the only intern there, so they really plugged me up. I had my own room and shit, like Metro booming. He was working on rodeo in there with Travis.
That's smart.
And then and then they gave me the room that Metro was cooking in, like as a personal room. So I really just like, I started engineering, and then I realized, I'm like, damn, like just one of my homies like done some homie shit, just like, hey, let me record you, let me practice my shit. You feel me? Like, cause Pro Tools, because I had to learn Pro Tools, because I missed out on a session with this dude from Miami Vice, Don Johnson, and like one of the engineers was like, hey, you want to engineer this? And I was like, fuck, I don't really know Pro Tools like that. And then that's when I was like, damn, like I gotta figure this shit out. Like I missed out on a session with a pretty big actor, like for real. And then I just really locked in for real.
For sure. So what's up? So like Pro Tools is like your go-to recording software? Do you use anything to like?
Honestly, I've been recording in like, at least like for mixing and stuff. I've been recording on Pro Tools for a minute, but then like recently I kind of switched to FL Studio for real. It's random as fuck. People are like, "What the hell?" But then I'm like, just listen to the sound. Like it's a different sound. Like a lot of these like up and coming like SoundCloud rappers and shit, they be recording themselves on like free.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because it's like a free. Just because it's all right there. Like, you know, some of these dudes don't know how to use Pro Tools.
Yeah.
So like, there's a certain sound to it. It's like how like people are like, oh, the FL 11 and 20 sounds different and shit. That shit's, I believe in that shit for sure.
I actually just saw a video like Southside talking about that. He was like, you know, FL Studio for Mac sounds different than FL Studio on PC. And I'm over here thinking like how different can it be? Like, you know, like,
hey, you'll be surprised, bro. I'm telling you, that shit does sound different. I was a skeptic at first, and I started off with 11, and then I went to 12, and then like you kind of had to know 11 to like work with some people in the industry, because some of them still use 11, and it's a little different like than 20. But I honestly use both, bro. I use both, but I think there 100% is a difference. I'm like convinced now for sure.
Word.
I've heard shit in the studio and like comparison. I'm like, damn, how does it hit like that? Like, it's just crazy.
Do you work with any like non-FL Studio producers?
Yeah, definitely. Like a lot of loop makers, they use like Ableton. Honestly, for like if I'm cooking up in person with somebody, then it's gonna be like strictly FL for real, unless they're like kind of sending loops over, or I'll work on some shit and send it to them and then do drums. But it's hard to like cross collaborate, like switching off like, oh, you do the hi-hat on this and then you fuck with like the bounce on this or some shit, if you're not using the same program. Definitely. So it's either, you know, start with a melody or whatever and then finish it off on your shit.
For sure. I will say, like, compared to other like DAWs, like I peeped that like FL is just like for making drums, which is like a pivotal. Like, it's so important for like hip hop. Yeah, bro. Like there's, you know, you can honestly.
There's some
like,
people there's some good producers though that use like their programs like Ableton. Yeah, like Ableton for real. I know people that make beats in Pro Tools too. It's just crazy. Just straight audio in, or like using Machine or MPC or some shit. And you can still make hard shit for real, but FL is just like such a simple workflow. Like, and it's like, it's just straight to the point. Like, I'm trying to learn this MPC right here. I got a little Akai MPC Studio, but you know, it's just like a learning curve, and I'm like slow on it. I'm like, damn, like I already hear the whole beat in my head, and I'm like, fuck this, and I'll just move it back into FL and finish it.
I feel that it's like FL is pretty intuitive, but like there's like different like ways of like making beats as well. Sometimes to get a different sound.
Yeah,
so we get with like a lot of those like drumming type like DAWs with the finger.
Yeah,
drumming.
facts, and that's why like burnout That's why like burnout is coming, because if you just like sitting there clicking notes in or working on loops just on your laptop, like, you know, that shit. I'm not gonna lie, like if you're doing that shit for hours, sometimes it gets boring. Like if you're just like, damn, like I want to like maybe play a keyboard or some shit, or like hit a drum pad, or like even start like just doing random shit, like instead of doing the same routine over and over.
Got you. Like do different things to like maybe like experience different ideas instead of like doing the same.
Yeah, facts.
Okay.
Because then you just like, it's more fun at that point, because it's like, oh, I'm doing something different, but I'm still making.
Still getting to the bag.
Like, yeah, facts.
So like let's get to like some of the people you work with. Like, you know, I've seen that you work with like, you know, some pretty like big people. So like what were those sessions like? Like who's your favorite person to work with?
Favorite person to work with? I don't know. There's a lot for real, but I would honestly say my favorite to work with was probably Chief Keef for sure. Just because like I was a kid when I first started listening for real.
Facts.
And like working with him and shit, and like we're actually like homies and shit. And like I've hella songs with him. Even the one that he just dropped, like there was we have some crazy shit involved, but it was lit because like, you know, I feel like sometimes in the industry you think you're gonna meet somebody and they gonna have like an ego or some shit. Maybe I've had that situation where you link up with rappers or singers or whatever, and you know they're not in the best mood and shit, and you know they ain't trying to really talk to people like that. But you gotta understand that some people get salty about that for real, because I be going through the same shit too. Sometimes I don't want to talk to people, and like but he's always been chill and shit. It was cool working with Swae Lee too. He's definitely like he's like a genuine cool person, just homies all together for real.
That's what's up. So like, do you usually go out to like studio sessions with them, or like do you send beats over?
For Swae, we pulled up to his crib. Sosa, he likes kind of doing shit himself, so I'll just send him shit for real. But I randomly just link up with him and shit, because we be seeing each other a lot. Like we kick around with the same people and shit.
That's what's up.
Cause he working with his artists, Go Gang and all them, like Ball Out and Tato, Tarantino, whatever.
Word. Like, do you work with like if an artist has like an in-house producer? Like, do you find yourself like working with those producers as well?
In-house producers?
Yeah.
Like on the other side?
Yeah.
I'll collab. Yeah, like I'll collab. Like they've had like yeah. I kind of just honestly do my own shit, or I only work with like a select amount of people in terms of like actually linking up with them. Like BigHead on the beat, that's been my homie for years. Like that's like the number one dude that I've always locked. Like we make everything and shit. Like I've been making my own shit too, and he makes his own shit. But we always like we're locked in. Like I'm signed to him.
That's what's up. And, how'd you first like get that connect? Like how'd y'all meet?
It's funny through Rojas and his manager, Alex Loyalty. My manager. He used to manage Lil Tay. It's funny. So random.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and so I got locked in with him, and we kind of just like, and I kind of just had hella work ethic. I was just like, literally just focused on music. I already graduated college or whatever, and I was just like locked in on music like for months. Like I didn't even damn near leave the crib. And then BigHead noticed that, we kind of just like were homies for real. Like he was just there in the crib, and he was just like, can't really fuck with people like that. But then he seen me just working every day. He's like, who is this dude? Like, he's making some hard shit. Like every time I walk by, like, what's good? Like, let's work on some shit. And the first beat we made was a song. It was supposed to go. It was for Alex, who used to like date Trippie Redd.
Yeah.
And that song ended up going with like Fetty Wap and Popcorn. It was like the first beat we ever made, like for real, together.
That's what's up. So like, what's it like working with BigHead? Like, do y'all like? I'm sure you guys have like a pretty like in sync workflow at this point.
Yeah, we have a pretty crazy workflow. Yeah, like he'll start some shit or I'll start some shit. We'll either start from a loop or from scratch or some shit, and then when one of us gets like frustrated or like kind of feel like, or if we're not getting frustrated and the beat's just kind of going, we'll just like, hey, like just finish it off and we'll just switch.
Smooth. That's what's up.
So like we kind of just have like I'm not gonna. I hate like making beats for somebody and then I walk away from it. I let them touch it and then shit slows down. Like I'm just like, oh, they're not like providing, they're more, and then I'm just like, oh, like, nah, that don't sound good, like, add this, da, da, da. But with a lot of like BigHead and like other producers, like, you know, more up there for real, like, it's just, they know what they do, and it's just like, I don't gotta stress about like correcting them. Like, I'll just walk away. I can walk away for the rest of the beat and have them finish it, and I'll know like when I come back it'll be solid. Like, that's the type of shit. Yeah,
that's nice. Yeah, like somebody like, you know, does like the drums, other person mixes, always keeping the motion.
Yeah, facts. And it's just, you know, sitting there throwing ideas back and forth. I like cooking up with other people for real. It's like definitely, but I also like having my alone cook up sessions for sure. Like I personally prefer that for real.
Definitely. Sometimes just like, you know, you're in a headspace that other people can't really relate to, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So I've been curious, like, how do royalties work?
Yeah, that's where it gets, it's an interesting, you know, you got to really understand the business side of shit. But there's like the publishing side and like the master side and like mechanical royalties and like publishing royalties, like through BMI or ASCAP. And yeah, I honestly, to be honest, I didn't understand it at first. But, you know, as a producer, you have to learn that shit.
I feel that.
That shit is, it's interesting. It's super, I feel like it's confusing for real if you don't really, not giving a breakdown on it. It's like, what the fuck? Like, how do I get the money from these songs? Like,
definitely.
Like, it just gets messy for real. I'm not gonna go into too much detail now, but it's a lot of shit.
Yeah, like I picked up like Everything You Need to Know About the Music Industry by like Donald Passman, and like he was going over like all the like different nuanced things for like contracts and like pretty much.
Oh, what is it called?
It's called Everything You Need to Know About the Music Industry. And I think they have like a couple different like they have like a new edition like every 2 years. It's definitely like,
it was like a book.
Yeah, it was a really interesting book. Yeah, for sure, I recommend it.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna check that out. For sure.
No, like it was cool. But
yeah, I'm trying to always got to stay on top of that for real.
Yeah, no, like for sure. But kind of something like, I guess like, yeah, that's why you have like labels to like manage a lot of that for you. You know, just so you can like focus on creating. I mean, I'm sure there's like a business. There's like the business aspect of it too. But like, do you find that?
Yeah.
Like in your experience, is it easier for people who are like in those situations to like balance creativity with business, especially like being in a label setting?
You just got to be smart about it. I feel like everybody starts off like kind of trusting somebody else with their stuff, and then you kind of just want to like, you see yourself leveling up and stuff, and you want people to be on the same level as you in terms of work ethic and kind of staying on top of that. I feel like the only person that's really going to care about you at the end of the day is you, like, for real. So like, no one's going to, like, you know, like I have a lot of help and stuff. Like my manager helps a lot, like label stuff. I've got paperwork and shit, but you know, not everything's perfect, you know. But at the end of the day, it's all love for real.
I feel that.
Yeah.
So like, with regards to like, I guess, like working and like having like, you know, things kind of like, I guess having a progression as a producer, you know, I feel like sometimes our producers are more focused on like the creative aspect and not the business aspect of it. So like going about getting like placements, like what's your process with that? Like, do you reach out to artists yourself? Do you have people you want to work with that you kind of make it a goal to reach out with? Or like, do you have like a team of place?
Yeah, definitely. And that's why having like BigHead has helped. You know, he's got me a lot of placements for sure. Definitely a shout out to BigHead. But you know, it's random, bro. Like, to be honest, like I've realized that's why like LA is definitely an opportunity. Like, you'll pull up to a studio session, I'll just be pulling up. I didn't do this before. Like I'm such an antisocial person sometimes, for real, depending on like what kind of stage of life I'm in, and like I won't go out and shit, and like shit'll slow down like that. But like recently I just like kind of started like popping out more and doing shit. I've just been meeting random people and like locking in with them, like big people, and I'm like, shit, like this is all you gotta do is just step out. You don't know who you're gonna link up with. Like, I bring my laptop everywhere with me I go now. Like, just throw it in my whip for real. Like, you don't know where you're gonna need that or cook up or like and shit. Like, it's wild.
Find the moves outside the studio.
Yeah, I definitely like. I don't like making beats in the same studio for real. Like, I used to live in this little studio house, and I still go work there sometimes. Like a 3-bedroom professional, or it's a 3-studio professional like crib in the hills. Like G Herbo used to live there. Like, Beyonce's recorded shit there, Prince, and you know, even then I'm just like I would cook there a lot, and then I'd be like, damn, I want a new vibe for real. Like, I get sick of it. Like and then I'm thinking, I'm like, damn, am I being selfish? Like, am I being greedy? Like, most people don't have this. Like, but it's just really like I have this little setup right here, just 2 little monitors. I used to just cook up straight on a Beats Pill, bro. I made me and BigHead made the Blueface Polo G beat off of fucking Beats Pill. Like,
that's crazy.
Just in Florida and shit. Like, it don't really matter as long as you got the ear locked in. You know how shit's gonna sound, like translation wise. Then it don't really matter.
I feel that. So like, would you say that like kind of being in the same place can kind of hold you back creatively, just because you're not really taking in like what creative inspiration from different places?
Yeah, for sure. Because there's, at least for me, because I know there's some loop maker dudes that are like fucking robots. They're just like there every day, like just geeked out, like going crazy. I used to be like that too, bro. Like, I swear, every single day I didn't even go to the studio. I would literally roll up out of bed and just fucking, my computer would be right there on my desk. I had a setup and I would just cook up right there all day. And then fucking go eat or whatever and fall asleep. And it was just like the same process over and over. But like, I ended up getting burnt out. Like, I was just like, I gotta go do shit. Like, I would like be sitting there like miserable, like trying to make some shit, and I'm like forcing it. That shit is trash. That's just the worst shit ever. And then you make some shit then you try to put your effort into something that's not good, and you're like, this is trash, and you just scrap it. Like, and it just like lowers your self-esteem even worse.
I feel that. Do you think like,
so it's always good to step away for a sec? No,
definitely. Would you say that like having that type of work ethic and that grind though, like, contributed to your success?
100%. Yeah. You know that like saying that's like 6 months of like hard work and dedication, like sacrificing everything, puts you like a year or two ahead of everybody else. That was definitely what I was on when I first started, like for the first 3 or 4 years for sure. And I just realized I was sad as hell, like miserable. I was miserable. I was just like, I gotta live life too. Like, I be doing artist shit too, and like I try to like write for people and shit, and like people were like BigHead specifically said this. He was just like, bro, like how are you as an artist if you're not popping out and doing shit and like actually experiencing life? What are you gonna talk about? Like, you gonna talk about, like, there's nothing to talk about if you're not going out and experiencing shit. You can just talk about a song about you going to the store or some shit and like kind of throwing it on there. It's all about just like inspiration and like relating to shit. Like, I'll make beats depending on my emotion, for real.
I feel that.
Yeah, like
just get like
like, just like if I'm going through it, like I'm just like, fuck, like I'm gonna make some shit that's going through it, or like I'm gonna do some angry shit that's like completely opposite of that to make me forget about the way I was feeling.
It's like a way to like express your feelings. I feel that.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's what I've been trying to express, like with my latest beats, I guess. I've been trying to do unique shit. Like, people are getting tired of hearing the same old shit, for real. Like, I'm tired of hearing the same shit. I deadass don't even like I listen to music, but like there's times where I just don't want to hear shit. Like, I can't hear the same shit over and over. Like,
definitely.
Like, there's still a lot of good songs out now, but like, and I'm not trying to sound like a hater or anything, but like, I just feel like it could be so much better. Like, I mean, like, I'm thinking about it when I was growing up and seeing all this shit, like even like the SoundCloud era and shit. I was like, damn, this is lit. It's different, like crazy, like. And I feel like people just need to be different.
I feel it, like taking like, it's like there's a lot of saturation for a lot of the same sounds, and like now more than ever, it's easier to like kind of make something that's similar, but like who's really like,
there's like a million like young boy. Yeah, there's like a million young boy clones and Polo G clones and all that, like, and they have their own like little style and stuff like in it and shit, but they're like, try to come up with something different for it. But that's what's rocking, so they're rocking with it and people are listening to it. I think it's like people in general's fault, I guess, like, and it's social media and shit, like everything's so like you hear it and I'm like, damn, that's hard. Next, what's the next hard shit? Like, you get right. When's the last song that you genuinely heard, bro? That you heard and you're like, damn, and you have that shit on repeat, like.
Honestly, it's been a while. It's been a while for me. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like most songs that like I personally will hear, I'll be like, man, I could. Technically, it's a good song, or like technically, it's like it's not like a lot of songs, in my opinion, like won't have a lot. Yeah, like won't have a replay value, or like it's not like something I can have on like repeat, like nonstop like that. It's been a while, and like I I kind of feel where you're like, coming from. It's kind of sad that we have to say this shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is sad for real. Like, I still respect all the artists. Like, there's nobody like that does music that I don't. I guess, and music wise, don't fuck with, because like they're all doing their shit. I feel like if you're in music, you understand other people that do music. Because it's such an interesting career path. It's not all as it seems, for real, and it's a lot of shit. Like, the first 3-4 years of producing were like living like shit. Like you didn't. There were so many times where you're up and down and like wanted to quit, and I'm like, damn, I'm gonna quit. I don't want to. I even give myself like age limit, like, oh, if I don't reach by this point and I don't see shit going on, then I'll completely stop it.
I feel that.
But like, I don't think you should do that. You should. In my heart, I know I just want to keep doing music forever. Also do other shit, but like mainly focus on music. I've gone too far to, ever stop for real. And this is how I felt before too. Even after just like a year or two of producing and shit, just staying dedicated.
I feel that. Why the age limit though? I'm just curious.
Why the age limit? I don't know. It was just some shit that I did. Like, I don't know. I was just like, oh, if I'm like 25 and like I don't see shit going on, I'm gonna stop doing music. This was when I was like 19 or 18. I like said this, and then like I obviously thought about that. I'm like, damn, I'm getting closer to 25, and I'm just like, shit started going good for me, and I like enjoyed it, and I'm like, oh, like fuck this, like I'm good, like, like it was kind of just like, I don't know, because a lot of people are like, oh, like never have a backup plan and stuff, but sometimes you need a back. Like, I didn't want to just. I've never wanted to be a failure, at least to my parents. I was like, I want people I try to like impress, I guess. And then like, so regardless, and like when I see music, you see the rappers flexing their jewelry and money, like all these bitches, like that shit's like, oh shit, that's lit. Like, like you see that shit and you're like, damn, like I want to be like that.
Yeah.
Like,
I want that lifestyle right there. The cars, like the houses, being able to fly everywhere. That's fire. But yeah, I mean, like,
it's an interesting lifestyle for sure. You gotta be a certain type of person to do that. Like, I thought about it. I was like, damn, that's a lot of work. Like,
yeah.
Think about it. Like, you can't really, like, if you just want to chill, you can't. In that position, and that's the type of dedication. If you really want this shit, you really gotta.
You gotta go and get it.
Like, it's hard for you to just like settle down. If you just want to like chill, like, and start some shit or some shit, you can't. Like, you gotta just constantly be on the go. Like, that's wild. Like, on call basically 24/7.
I feel that.
That's how it's like, for real.
It's a grind. Like, like you gotta put like almost, you gotta be obsessed with it. It seems like that's
100%.
Like, if you're not obsessed 100%. With it, if you're not like mentally dedicated to it, like, it seems like it's not a chance for most people.
Yeah, because I'll be doing some shit in the morning, like, and then like I'll like produce like later in the day, and I'll just, bro, I'll be running off like no sleep. People are like, damn, how do you even do it, bro? Like, I don't know. I'm burning out, like, and I'm just like, but then at the end of the day, like, it excites me to do it, so that's why I do it, for real. Like, I wouldn't do it if I didn't see anything going with it, or if I didn't even enjoy it. Like, what's the point of that?
For sure. You
don't want to do something that makes you miserable.
No, you're doing it for a reason. Like, it's a sacrifice.
Yeah, facts. It's definitely, bro, sacrifice is, it's crazy. Like, engineers I respect so much. Like, they get the most shit, but then, like, I've honestly stepped away from engineering a little bit, because I personally dislike engineering unless it's like with an artist that's right there type shit that I want to like record, and like there's honestly nobody else to record. Like, I'll do it.
Right. Like,
I used to, because it's so mentally draining. Like, there was an interview that I seen with one of I think it was Doug and Kodak's engineer. He's basically like, you got to sacrifice everything, your life, family, sleep, like everything. Like, you literally just have to be there all the time. Like, you're on their time, you're not on your own time. And I was like, that shit's wild. That's why, like, I've been trying to establish myself more as a producer rather than just an engineer, which is something that I'm glad that I did in the beginning. Because if I would have just strictly been an engineer, that would have sucked. Like, I want to be part of the creative process. And that's kind of why I started producing, was because I want to be part of the whole creative process, like making the beat from scratch, engineering them, fucking mixing and mastering the song, releasing it with the artist. Like, that shit's a whole different. It's always lit being able to do everything. Like, artists that can do everything themselves are always the most talented for real.
I feel that. So like, do you feel like you have like less creative influence as a like engineer?
As in, what do you like?
Kind of, because like, you know, like as a producer, you kind of sit there, like, you know, make the beat with like the like with the artist, you know, you kind of get it sounding to like, you make a pocket specifically for them, like engineered, designed for like, you know, that artist specifically. Do you think like
engineers are 100% creative, but it's very robot like. It's, you know, they're kind of just doing it, but engineers are super creative, adding like different shit, kind of
like little
puzzle piecing different stuff together. Yeah, doing effects like that. That's the most mentally grueling thing ever. Like, you literally are sitting there and time fucking is either going super slow or super fast because you're just like staring at a computer. Like with producing, you know, you staring at a computer, you gotta just take a break, smoke or some shit. With engineering, it's not like that. It's like just strictly on. And if you like mess up and the artist is like, oh, run it back, like the track or whatever when they're recording, and you mess up, like they'll get on your ass. Like I made sure when I'm working, I'm pretty confident when engineering with anybody now. Like I'm fast as hell. Like when it comes to, that's really important.
Speed.
Like if nobody wants to wait and sit there and be like, oh my god, like they got some shit to say in their mind. Like,
right, you got to be able to
like, and if you slow, like it's not professional for real.
Definitely, no, I feel that.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to ask, like, you know, working at that studio, like how'd you get tapped in with like Oprah? Like, was there an opportunity for you to produce for like, Oprah, or like did you engineer for Oprah? Like,
yeah, I did like an assistant engineer thing with her. It was for a movie. I did a lot of movie shit at that studio, which was lit. Like, so she like came in for a session. Yeah, she did a voiceover for this movie that came out on like HBO in like 2018, 2017. It was like about Henrietta Lacks. It was like some movie. She like had like this regenerative cell thing or something like that, and then like so basically like the hospital like took her cells and like made a bunch of vaccines out of it, and then like it was kind of messed up because like they didn't tell her about it, and they kind of just stole her DNA and like started like researching it. Like it was a whole thing, and like Oprah played like I think her mom in the movie or something, and you know she had to like basically redo some scenes in the studio, like in terms of voice, and so that's why she was there.
That's wild. That's a crazy concept.
Crazy.
I mean,
no. It's based on a true story too. It's a real story.
That actually happened. It's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, it actually happened. Yeah, look it up. Henrietta Lacks. It's a pretty interesting story. It's wild.
I'm definitely gonna check that out. Like, man, like that's. Do you feel like after like being in that type of session, like you get to like meet her, like talk to her, like at all? Like do you kind of? Like,
yeah, I did. Yeah, I have a picture with her. I haven't posted
That's
it.
What's up?
I think it's on my story archive, but I just was I looked so young and like. I should post it again. I should just throw it up there, like throw it back.
For sure, it's a legendary moment. Like,
yeah, because I looked up. It's just funny because Oprah is my first credit, and like I didn't have it like that. I didn't even have her on my credits at first because it was just strictly music. And then I was talking to this one producer. He did "Suicidal" by Melly and Juice WRLD, Zen, and I was in Florida with him, and I was just we just met, and like I was kind of telling him what I did. And then when he looked at my Instagram, he's like, bro, like, why don't you have Oprah as, like, the first fucking person in your credit? I'm like, like, maybe you're right. Like, and I did that, and it was just funny.
Yeah, and I saw, like, your credits. I was like, it was, like, a whole bunch of artists in the Oprah. I was like, how do you work with Oprah? Like, that's, you know, I'm sure, like, other artists, like, you know, someone could assume, like, oh, you're probably just in the studio, you know, like, I've flown out, whatever it may be. But, like, Oprah, I feel like that's, like, almost, like a different level. So, like, do you find yourself, like, do you work with, like, kind of like do you sign artists as well, or like have you been involved in
the
that?
label that I'm signed to does sign artists, and I have like an input on like artists and whatnot.
Word, okay.
So yeah, we have a couple artists signed. Yeah, I don't have any artists personally that I've signed myself, just kind of like BigHead Music Group.
Word, okay. Like, what's that like? Like what do you look for if like you're trying to like help decide?
Someone that I personally fuck with, that's just hard.
Word, okay.
That like, if they can make good shit, like that's really. For sure. As long as and they a solid person, then I'd like to work with them a lot for real.
Okay, is there like certain things that like you try to like have input on, like with regards to like signing artists? It's like, you know, like their like brand has to be a certain way, or like,
or just like I'll introduce like artists.
Word,
so
okay.
they'll be like, hey, this guy's hard. Like, what you think about him? It's been a while since I've done that, but
Okay.
You know, I'm so picky, bro. Like even with everything, like with beat selection, like, I'm so picky, and like I'm like over here just trying to find like an angel singing to me, basically. Like, oh my god, like this is like that's the feeling that I'm trying to get. And it's such a, you know, it's like it's not unrealistic, but you know, it's not easy. So like, there's a lot of hard people, but like we said, you know, a lot of people sound the same as other people. Like, where's the longevity in this?
For sure. Yeah. So like Emotions with like 3 Days Grace and Young Thug. So like
Oh yeah,
that song was crazy. Like I was like it was just structured like so intricately, and like kind of just being able to like get like all of the different like, you know, like the chorus getting like working with like, you know, 2 different types of artists, like meshing that that was one song. Energy was
wild. A trip for sure. That started through BigHead because he sampled this song by 3 Days Grace, and it was Witchblades by Keef and Tracy. And then like 2 years after that, like the drummer of 3 Days Grace hit BigHead and was just like, yo, like my daughter loves this song, like the song is doing better than the original song, like let's link up. And we just like linked up, and like that's how 3 Days Grace situation came about. We kind of like thought of this like rock rap thing, and that's how that kind of played in, because our people were cool with Doug's people, and that's how we got it, for real. That shit was crazy. I did a lot of the guitars and like the arrangement on the actual track and everything.
That's crazy.
Like, you know, the whole band was like added their did all the shit, the drums, like BigHead did like the trap beat part, and like, you know, that shit was crazy.
It was fire.
Definitely interesting. Yeah, when that shit came out, I knew a lot of people were gonna be like, what the fuck, this shit's random as hell. Like 3 Days Grace, Young Thug. I was thinking about it forever. It was a process in the making, and it was like done a while ago, and you know, it was just the process of clearing it and whatnot, getting the video, getting shit right.
For sure.
And, but I was definitely heavily involved in that whole creative process from start to finish.
I thought it was like super cool. Like it was cool listening to it because everything had like a flow. Like it was very like well thought out, like structured, and like the production, like the transition between like the different like sections of the song, just like.
Oh yeah, appreciate
genius.
It, bro. Yeah, thank you.
Of course. That was fire. So like, want to ask about Puberty with Swae Lee. Like how that come about, and like, do you have like an ETA on when the song's dropping?
I don't see, that song was what we did almost a year and a half ago. It was a minute ago. But Swae personally fucked with the song. Like he was up for like, we got there at like 1, and he was up to like 7 a.m. yawning and shit, still trying to finish the song. Like that's how you know if he was fucking with the song. And like we knew someone that was there the next day, and then we seen them again. They were like, yeah, he played it again next morning. He was fucking with it. Like, but you know, I don't even remember the last time Swae's dropped. Like it's been a minute. Like we're trying to figure something out with that. But yeah, just you know, it's just being patient, bro. That's one thing I hate. I have so many big songs like unreleased, and like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Like if they're unreleased, like it's cool being like, oh, like I worked with, like I got a song with Swae Lee. Like it's a good fucking song, like the whole song. And then, but like if it doesn't come out, like it's like damn, like I have 2 songs with Youngboy that's already leaked, like that shit ain't ever gonna like officially drop. So it's like damn, like that would have been like my first real crazy placement, and he was gonna drop it too, and then it got leaked, and it was some whole shit.
That's tough. So it's like it's not just like being in the room; it's kind of like going through the process, getting them cleared. You know, like getting the song released.
Because like you'll be in like the studio with the artist, you might work on some fire ass shit, and then you know they're about to drop an album, let's say in 2 months or something. You work with them the first month, and maybe the next month you don't really link with them because you got to do something, and they end up like, you know, making some other shit, and then your shit don't even make the album. And you're like, damn, like what the fuck? And like it's just really, it's timing and luck, and just kind of going off the artist for real.
I feel that.
Depending on how close you are with them, but you know, like it's really up to them at the end of the day. It's a business relationship.
For sure. Yeah, like I mean, especially like at a big level, like I'm sure there are like there's a process to get a song cleared for a drop.
And you gotta, like, sure. You gotta hit them up. You gotta even see if they're even if the artist is 100% down. Like, I got you. Like, let's get it. Like, sometimes their label may not even let them clear it, even if they want to. Like, it just depends what type of situation they're in.
I feel that. Man. So to wrap things up, have you noticed any trends in the industry, like where things are moving forward? You know, in the next few years. Where things are moving forward. And do you have any advice for producers?
Trend. I think people just want to hear quality shit. Like, people are just wanting to hear the next big thing. Like, and that's what it happens like every couple of years. Like, there's always a new artist that emerges that changes everything. Like, you know, like, so that's how I see it going. It's just about making shit that's unique. And, you know, at first, you know, your shit may sound different. And, like, difference doesn't get accepted at first, but then once people start catching on to the wave, then it's not so different anymore. It's like, oh shit, like, we really started something here. But so advice to producers: just keep working. Like I said, take breaks when you need to. Don't overshoot yourself. You're gonna be making like the same repetitive shit. You're gonna not have the creativity to make some crazy shit like with somebody. Like, I was just in the studio with this artist, and there was like 5 different beat switch ups that I did on the beat, all from scratch, and it was just like, oh shit, like, this was crazy. Like, it was like such an inspirational night. Like, I haven't made some real crazy shit like that in a minute. That I was like, damn, like.
So
yeah, just network.
It seems like, you know, kind of just like, you know, people should just believe in themselves as producers and, like, you know, just, you know, put their best foot forward.
Yeah, don't give up, for real, because that shit ain't easy, for real. There's a lot of sacrifices. I'm still not even close to the point that I want to be at. So it's like, you gotta humble yourself at the end of the day. Like, I think that's my problem. Like, even though I've done some, like, I'm not gonna lie, I've done some pretty decent songs. Like, but I'm like, damn, like, it's not shit compared to this song or this other producer. Like, it's like a constant comparison. Like, trying to just go crazier than the next person.
I feel that, man.
But it's inspiring because I have a lot of producer homies, like, that I work with, and like, I scroll on Instagram, like, man, every week it's like one of producer homies got like a song on the album, the big album that dropped that week. Every week it's like, damn, that's crazy. Like, fuck, I gotta get that shit. Like, I feel like I'm not doing enough. Like, it's crazy.
That's fire though. Like, you know, the whole gang's hustling. You know, that's really inspiring to, like, be in that type of situation where, like, you know, you're
it is. It definitely is.
Grinding like
that. Working with people and shit and seeing them go up, like, that's lit. Like, that's lit as fuck. Like, and it just makes me be like, damn, like, I wanna go crazy too.
I feel that. Well, that's what's up. Well, Manzo, I just want to thank you for, you know, taking the time to, you know, join us today. It was definitely a great conversation. You know, like,
for sure. Yeah, appreciate you, man.
For sure, man.
Cool. Of course, man. Thank you. Of course.